You stay there if you want to. Your choice. Your choice. Welcome to the BNI Blast on Blab. If you're listening to this on the replay, retweet and share this with your followers and fellow BNI and business networking colleagues. If you're listening to this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and comment in the notes because we publish all of these BNI broadcasts on our YouTube channel. My name is Brian Lobig of Lobig Inc. Web Consulting and a member of the BNI Capital Business Alliance in Bethesda, Maryland. I provide web design, SEO services to small business and internet strategies to other marketing and consulting firms. And my co-host is Philip.
Hi, I'm Philip Day with Philip Day Communications in Charlottesville, Virginia. I provide all types of online marketing services from SEO to copywriting to advertising to social media for B2B and B2C. Doesn't matter how big your company is, my marketing company can help yours succeed.
And my favorite copywriting that Philip has been doing lately has been with the National Institute of Health. We're both in the kind of this DMV, we call it the DMV area. This is Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, and Maryland. Mm-hmm. M is for Maryland, V is for Virginia. And so we both are working on a contract together. We have our own independent businesses, but we're actually collaborating on a project for the one of the offices of the National Institute of Health. And so that's kind of a very interesting and challenging project since it's social media, and they have not done social media at all traditionally in this particular office. And they don't do a real extensive job in the National Institute of Health in general. So that's been a really interesting and fun project. So before we kind of jump into the meat and potatoes of our podcast, we'd like to describe what is BNI because we call this the BNI Blast on. Hopefully not the Blast on Spreecast, which may be happening depending on how Blab goes.
Could be.
But BNI is it's an acronym for Business Networking International. BNI is the largest business networking organization in the world with over 7,000 chapters. In 2015, BNI generated 7 million referrals, resulting in more than I think it's $9 billion worth of business to its members. BNI offers members the opportunity to share ideas, contacts, but most importantly, business referrals.
Business referrals.
Jump in there, like, you know.
Well, I'm sorry, a little slow tonight.
BNIamerica.com is the link to for that group. And so we talk about networking in here. Let's see, just jumped a little question there. BNI, do you have any? Do I by any chance know Hazel Walker? I do not know Hazel Walker. Where is she from in the world? Well, if you're watching the show, you can share the last 30 seconds. Invite your followers if this topic is interesting to you. And we're going to jump right into the meat of the podcast. So, how to expand your network on LinkedIn. So, I'd be curious from Philip, like what kind of strategies he's used or what he's currently using, and also what he's seen in the past.
Well, I tell you what, when it comes to LinkedIn, I'm hearing a echo here. When it comes to LinkedIn, a lot of times what I've done is I've actually looked up names of people that I know. And basically, what I did was this: I was like, well, who do I know in this area, number one, that I can look up and network with on LinkedIn? And before I knew it, I had gained, I don't know, quite a number. I don't know what the number is. I don't recall it. But from there, I expanded to people from my hometown, to people with Lutheran Family Services.
Former job.
Employer. That's right, where you and I worked. So really, I just started out looking up people that I knew and building a list of followers or connections from there.
You know, LinkedIn in the past has made it a little too easy for you to connect with your the people you know. You know, they have some integrations. Mm-hmm. They'll easily let you connect your LinkedIn account to your contacts, especially if you have web-based contacts like through Gmail. And I know some people, I've heard stories, and some of my friends included, have accidentally made that connection without really intending it because they make it so easy, like a one click, and you're connected on LinkedIn to everybody in your address book, and then it sends out notifications. And I've had many friends get kind of upset at that process because they've all gotten these connection requests to join them on LinkedIn and they didn't really intend that.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that happening?
I have heard of that happening. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but it is now. And there's so many ways now within LinkedIn in which you can actually connect with a lot of people. We'll probably cover that later.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn for the longest time was very particular too about who you connected to. And you had to know them.
Yep. You
had to have their email address, or you went to college with them, or high school, or whatever. You worked with them. Now they don't seem to be as quite as strict on that.
Well, it's interesting. There's still a difference between how easily you can connect to somebody on LinkedIn if you're on the mobile application or if you're on the desktop application. And I don't know if a lot of people know it or realize it, but if you're on a mobile device, you can connect with people. You can request a connection with like second and third level connections. You know, there's the 3 levels of connections. The first level is the people that you're actively connected to on LinkedIn. And there's the second level, which is people who you're connected to somebody through one of your first level connections. And the third level is you're not connected directly to that person. And so on the mobile application of LinkedIn, you can request a connection with somebody without knowing their email address or without knowing them in any kind of personal way, which is one of the reasons that I use the mobile application to connect to all the people I know, because they still, like on the desktop, you still have to, if you're not a first level connection, especially if you're a third level connection, it's going to require that you know that person's email in order to connect with them. But on the mobile app, you can just click that, connection button and it will automatically send out the request. It doesn't have, it's not consistent. It's not, but I've found that's really how I've expanded my network to where it is today, which is around, 13 or 1500 LinkedIn connections.
Oh, you're way ahead of me.
So my philosophy, it's not a race. It's quality. It's quality. Not
it's quality.
It's quality, not quantity. So you can have 200 connections, and if they're the best connections for your business, one connection. I have one connection in BNI locally, and this person's not even in my networking group, who is the single biggest source of quality leads in my life. And so that's one person that trumps any, the 1,500 people I have in my life. Of course, she's a LinkedIn connection as well. But, one person can make the difference. So it's really quality over quantity. However, having the quantity allows you to do a lot more kind of research on who knows somebody who you know. And so I've really expanded from my initial days of just expanding my own LinkedIn network. So my own philosophy, some people have this philosophy of they will connect with anybody. They will connect with anybody on LinkedIn, no matter if they know them or not. I get requests every day from people who say, I see, sometimes they just hit the automatic connection request without any message. They just use the canned LinkedIn message that says that, hey, I'd like to connect with you. And so I'll look at their profile and I'll see if I know somebody that they know. But if they're a third level connection and they didn't give any reason that they want to try to connect with me, I don't even consider it. But even if they do a personal message like, hey, I see we're both in the SEO field, I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn. I usually don't connect with those people either. I really want to have some kind of connection with them prior to me connecting with them on LinkedIn. I want to know, like, maybe if I'm following their blog and they ask for a connection, I'm cool with that, because I have some kind of a digital, like a digital relationship with them, or at least with their content. That usually doesn't happen though. It's usually, if I connect with somebody on their blog, is I'm requesting the connection because I want to connect with them because I've read their stuff. But my real philosophy is I really want to know everybody who's on my LinkedIn network to some degree, because I use that as a source of referrals. I use it as a source of leads and referrals and connections. So I don't want somebody so if somebody asks me for a connection request, if somebody comes in and says, who are you looking? I get this all the time, and it's a great way. It's one of the best uses of LinkedIn, in my opinion, is helping other people. And so I get requests probably every week, like, who do you know who does advanced Google Analytics? Who do you know that is a Joomla developer? Who do you know that can do, different kinds of things? And some of it's, that's kind of within the scope of the type of work I do. Then I'll jump onto my LinkedIn platform and I'll search for that among my followers. If I don't, I'm getting older, so I don't remember what everybody does. And so I can just search my own LinkedIn followers and see if I forgot somebody who does have that skill. And if they don't, then I can search beyond that. And so if there's a second level connection of somebody who has that skill and I know the person who knows them, I'll ask that first level person, hey, do you know this person who provides Joomla development? How well do you know them? Would you recommend them? And then I will use that as a way to introduce people. And that has, that's one of the ways I've really helped a lot of people, is just by making those kind of connections. I'm getting a lot of requests right now for some reason. I'm getting a lot of it's from my own clients are asking me for virtual assistants. They're asking me, do you have anybody who is a virtual assistant who can help me with simple administrative tasks or doing simple updates on my website or just, those kind of things, not a regular thing, but like just, and so I'm actually looking for someone like that to join our business networking group, like a virtual assistant. And so I've been doing a lot of searching on the web for virtual assistants. There's quite a few of them actually in this greater Washington, DC area. And so I'm using, my LinkedIn connections to make those kind of referrals and connections. It's just a wonderful use of the platform for that purpose.
Well, Brian, Karen brings up a good point here, and she's told me this herself, that she gets a lot of requests.
Yep.
A lot of these people she doesn't know. Some of them are within her industry, but some are not. How would you advise her and other people who get a lot of requests and you're wondering, is there some other reason they're really trying to get a hold of me?
Good question. And I saw a question from Nick in there from PMA Creative. This show is probably going to go to 8:40. We got a little bit late start, Nick, so we'll probably go another 20 minutes. So that's a great question. We were talking about that. I get requests. I think a lot of people requests all the time. My personal strategy is to ask them why they are requesting a connection. So I'll say something like, thanks for the request. What motivated you to connect? That's my standard line. What motivated you to connect? And if they say something like, oh, well, I'm just trying to expand my network. And they don't know anything about me. They've said nothing, no reason of why they want to connect. I would say, well, hey, join me over on Twitter. That's the best place to connect with me in a very open way. I'll connect with anybody on Twitter. But on LinkedIn, I really want to connect with people that I know because I'm using that as a source of referrals and leads and that kind of thing. If I get to know them on Twitter, if I get to know them, if I follow up their blog content or something like that, then it's more likely that I will then have build a more deeper relationship with them on another more open platform, and then bring them into my smaller, more closed, platform on LinkedIn. That's my personal approach.
Well, and Stephanie has a good question, kind of dovetailing that, is how do you navigate through those requests without those connections to them?
How do you navigate through requests without connections? So step one, right. So step one is like build your connections. So when you first get on LinkedIn, you want to develop, this is my recommendation. If Nancy, feel free, if Nancy is still in the audience, no, I think she dropped off. If somebody else wants to jump on and give their opinion of how they use LinkedIn, we'd be open to that. But my first strategy, like year one, when I started developing my business in 2010, my first year was to really actively expand my LinkedIn connections. And so I was connecting with everybody in the world that I knew on LinkedIn. And so you want to do that from your mobile app, because you can connect with anybody. You can make a lot more connections, third level connections with people that you know on there without having to know their email. And so you go through there and you just start connecting with this is what I did. Every single person in the world, family, friends, colleagues, former business partners, college roommates, whatever. I connect with all those people, and that really starts expanding the number. Then LinkedIn starts getting a handle on, he's connected to 5 people from this place. Maybe he knows this person. And so, so that really helps expand your network. Then you have a whole lot of connections where you can see, how people are related to different people. She was reiterating Karen's question. So I saw James had a question in there earlier. Is virtual assistant where someone can take over your cursor? So it's a really more broader than that. That's more kind of like a tech support person who would do that. A virtual assistant can be a tech support person, but it's really somebody who's like your administrative assistant, but they're not working out of your office, or they're not local. So virtual means they're working from anywhere. They could be working from Pakistan. They could be working from Canada, and they are your personal assistant. And so you just give them tasks that they can handle, digitally, like when they're not having to be there. And so I consider my daughter a virtual assistant because she helps me with my bookkeeping from the George Mason University. So she's like a virtual assistant, but I pay her more than like what a virtual assistant makes.
What do you think about connecting with people who view your profile? Is that a good idea?
Oh, interesting idea. So is that a question you're asking, Philip, or that somebody asked in the chat?
That's a question I'm asking. I get profile views all the time, but I don't necessarily.
I've heard some good strategies about this, and I've used it a couple times myself. But I've sat in on a lot of LinkedIn strategy, webinars. And so one of the things that I've heard, and I'm curious if other people have used this strategy in that are watching, is since LinkedIn will show you, that different people have viewed your profile. If you have the professional version, you can see almost everybody who viewed your profile. If you have the free version, they'll give you a little sampling of the people that have viewed your profile. And so one of the strategies for that is to follow up with those people, because they've obviously taken some kind of interest in your profile for whatever reason. And so you can send them a note. It's sometimes you have to word these follow-up messages to them carefully, because you don't want to feel like a stalker, like, hey, I saw you looked at my profile. What the heck do you want?
Yeah, really.
But you could say, I have a couple scripts that I've gotten from some webinars saying that I noticed that you visited my profile. I see we both have connections in the world of web design or in the world of internet marketing. And then use that as an opening to either give them a phone call or invite them to connect if you feel like there's some kind of reason to connect. I wouldn't do that because it's too early in the process. Invite them to visit something on your website. It still feels too early, unnatural for me to do that, which is why I haven't done that very much. But you could, send them to give them a link to like a white paper or to join your email list. I might do something more like if I feel like there's some kind of natural connection, like if somebody in my networking group is like, I've got someone in my networking group who is a title attorney that does, title work for realty. And so if I see a realtor has looked at my profile, I will use that as an opportunity to say, hey, I see that you looked at my profile and you're a local realtor to the DC area. Are you interested in networking with other people in the realty world? Because I have a couple colleagues that are looking to expand their network. And so she has a brand new title company. She's just looking to connect with all kinds of new realtors. And so that's a very good way for me to give referrals and to people in my group. If you know who, this is kind of a business networking international thing. One of the things that we do in BNI is we try to figure out and we ask what our business colleagues are looking for as far as referrals. And so realtors are looking for homeowners, attorneys are looking for clients, painters are looking for homeowners. Other people like myself are looking for people who want a website or want to improve their search engine positioning. And so if you know that, then you can use those opportunities for people who are looking at your profile to see if they fit in any of those categories that could be a good referral source for people that you're trying to develop referrals for. So I would say, don't think of it just internally. Don't just think about yourself. Like, how can this person benefit me? I always think it's easier for me to think about how this person can benefit others. How can that person connected with me be a potential benefit for one of my business colleagues, because it's that whole giver's gain philosophy. When you give, you receive. It's a Christian principle too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I got another LinkedIn question for you.
Okay.
Connecting with people who comment and like your LinkedIn posts. Is this a good way, in your opinion, to make connections to network on LinkedIn?
I feel like you want to try to think, in my opinion, and feel free if anybody else has any thoughts on the subject to jump into the seat. It's open. But my own philosophy is to try to be as natural as possible. So if somebody's commenting on a post you shared, check out their profile so they know that you visited their profile. How do you jump in? If you should be able to, the seat's locked. Unlock the seat. I'll unlock the seat. There you go. You should be able to jump in there. And Stephanie can let you in, hopefully. So if somebody has made a comment, thank them for making the comment. Ask them a follow-up question. What did you, if they say great post, people do little short things like that all the time. Great post, interesting information. Ask them what you liked about it. Or you could say, I really liked, the thing that sparked my attention in that post was that SEO is dead. What did you like about what stood out to you in that particular post? So you just want to engage, be human. You want to engage people in conversation, and opportunities will arise when they need to arise. When they're meant to happen.
Okay.
Can you jump in there, Nick? Did you see? Oh, there he is. I'm gonna let him in here. 260 days on Blab. He's been on Blab a whole long time. Flush marketing.
Hey,
there he is. Good job.
Here's Nick.
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Good. You look like a helicopter pilot. Those are great headphones.
Oh yeah, I just picked these up.
Nice. So you want to jump into that question there? Add a little insight from your perspective.
What was the question? I was too busy jumping in. Trying to figure it out. So I know it's LinkedIn.
The question that Philip was, you want to ask that same question again, Philip?
Okay, yeah, Nick. If someone comments on or likes your post on LinkedIn, do you follow up to find out who they are and try to connect with them? What are your thoughts on that?
I guess it's a case-by-case basis for me, but I tend to either follow up with them or make a note, and then, like Brian was saying earlier, try to connect with them on another social network as well, such as Twitter. But I like what Brian was saying about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now why is Twitter kind of like a clearinghouse type of thing? Our viewers might be wondering why you want to check them out on Twitter.
Yeah, why do you want them? So that's a good question for Nick. I'll let him answer that one.
Yeah, what's the strategy?
So why are you trying to get them to connect with your other social profiles?
I guess because that's where I am on Twitter. But I guess it depends on your company and which social networks work best for your company.
Yep.
But yeah, as I've learned from Brian as well, Twitter is a good way to kind of reach out to people and, cross promote with other people who are in your space as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Some people have different. Some people are active on different platforms. Some people are Twitter people. Some people are massive. LinkedIn, that's like their primary platform. Other people like me are just like everywhere. They try to be everywhere on the new stuff. They try to be on stuff that goes out of business in 2 weeks. I do that just so I have an understanding of how stuff works. But I tend to gravitate towards the thing you feel kind of most comfortable, where you feel maybe your clients are. So I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on Instagram a lot. I'm on Snapchat a lot right now because I think the live video thing I think is exploding. I think it's going to continue to be big in the industry, and I think businesses are going to be able to really use and harness that technology for business if they kind of figure it out and understand how it works. So this live streaming, I've really had fun with Blab, like getting to know people. I've hired somebody off of Blab in the past. I'm about to interview and hire somebody else from a show from last night for an SEO trainee, somebody who just graduated from an HBCU, they call it, Historically Black College University. So it's interesting opportunities come up, especially with this live video platform. It creates like a kind of an instant connection and trust. It's kind of the trust factor just goes through the roof because you're seeing the person, you're hearing the person, you're communicating with them like in real time, you're seeing their face. You get a feel if somebody is being manipulative or they're just out for themselves or they're just trying to, get you to buy their widget, or if they, if they really are interested in connecting you in a certain kind of way.
And let me ask both of you guys this too, and Stephanie, when you guys are posting on LinkedIn, what are the cardinal rules? I mean, what would you recommend when you post on LinkedIn? I share a lot of content. Occasionally, I will advertise my company. What are your thoughts?
I'm looking at Nick.
Oh, okay. For me, I don't post a whole lot on LinkedIn. I only like to post stuff
really?
that I think is extremely interesting, or if we're doing something as a company, like a video shoot or something like that, we'll share. I've used it, like Brian said, to reconnect with people from the past, or people that I've just met at a live networking event, something to that effect. That's really been working for me lately. But I don't know. What do you do, Brian?
I like to use LinkedIn and really most platforms as a way to stay connected with my current and new customers. I know most people are looking for use these platforms to connect with new people, to get new customers. I really use it to stay in touch with my existing customers because that's where most of my income, if that's probably most of your income comes from too, is those existing customers who you're continuing to do more services for. And those are the ones that refer you to new people. And so I want to become my customer's biggest fan on these platforms. So if I know my client is big on LinkedIn, I'm gonna be all over their LinkedIn profile. If they post anything, I'm gonna like on that. I'm gonna like that thing. I'm gonna comment on it so that they know that I care and I'm connected and I'm want to be involved with them on an ongoing basis. Even if it was just like a one-time web design job, like we just did the website and that was it. They didn't want to do SEO. They didn't want to do internet marketing, anything else. I know the opportunity is going to come around like, hey, I'm really interested in this social media stuff, and Brian is like the one person who continually shares, likes, comments, posts on my stuff. Let me see what he has to say. And so they usually see me as a resource and information. And it doesn't mean I'm always going to be able to provide the service. Like I got a phone call today from a marketing company that I do SEO for in Northern Virginia called Arlington Strategy, Jennifer. And so she called me. She wanted to have a discussion with me today about Google advertising. And so she knows I do some Google advertising. And so she was asking me if I could provide that maybe as a white label for her clients. That's something I've really moved away from is small business Google advertising. It's just not enough. You have to choose what you want to do the most of. And so it's something that, I recommended she contact another group that I work with that that's all they focus on is Google AdWords advertising. I do work on very large Google AdWords account where it makes financial sense to me as my business grows. So I'll work with very large Google advertising budgets and with marketing firms that need, they're spending, $10,000 a month. That's but a lot of small businesses only want to spend $5,000-$6,000 a month. They'd be better off working with a company that can do that very efficiently. I don't do it very efficiently at that price. I can make a lot more money doing SEO in small scale than I can do Google AdWords in small scale. So when they connect with me and ask me questions, I'll be like, no, I'm not the right person for that. This is the group you want to talk to about a small scale pay-per-click program because I work with them, I know them, and so that also builds trust because it's like, oh, he's not just trying to do everything for everybody. He's giving me referrals to groups that will actually do the best job for them. What do you think, Stephanie?
All right. Do we have any? Yes, Stephanie. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
How do you use it?
I use it because, I guess when I was in college, I think they kind of forced us to get a LinkedIn account, to start the whole application process of after you graduate, which was good and helpful because, I got a bunch of connections from school that I wouldn't have otherwise. people from high school. It's kind of like Facebook to me because people start finding you and they know what you're doing. But I just got to keep it very professional. So that's really it.
How long have you been out of college?
2 years now, I think.
2 years. So do you feel like
technically 1 year? Technically 1 year.
You find it, so my thought is that you probably use social media more as a way to interact personally with people, and now you're moving into more of a business use of social media. Is that true?
Close. It's more like I've been using my social media as a business thing from college because I was always involved in very professional things.
Okay.
So LinkedIn is just like the official professional thing that people will find you, even if they can't find you on Facebook or Twitter, or if you're not very good on social media, they'll find you on LinkedIn.
Yep.
You know.
Well, Karen is saying that she likes LinkedIn because it seems to be a more professional platform. It is. I mean, if you were to post something that you post on Facebook or Twitter onto LinkedIn, many people would look at that as being unprofessional, and I've seen that.
Like what?
So you've got to really, you've got to be more formal. You know what I mean? What's that?
Give me an example. Have you seen like cat pictures or what?
Oh, well, I've either seen cat pictures or, well, I don't know if I've seen cat pictures, but I've just seen people talk about like where they went to the restaurant, where they went out to eat, or the vacation they were on, or something like that. You don't talk about that on LinkedIn. Yeah. That is not the venue. I look at it really as a professional networking venue.
So that brings up my.
I never saw that on LinkedIn before.
Oh, you're not connected. You're not connected to the right people then.
It's rare.
I don't really go through the post on my LinkedIn page. I like to see the people that are trying to add me. I'm like, oh, I know this person. I don't know this person. I don't really go through the.
I would challenge you then. Interesting. So I think a lot of people are like that. Like they'll just go on there to protect their own profile, or they won't really look at the LinkedIn news feed like they would the Facebook news feed. Like people really use that Facebook news, especially now that the videos come out and they automatically play, and as soon as it's done, it'll jump another one up. Facebook has become, videos are becoming more viewed more than YouTube now because of that automatic playing thing. But on LinkedIn, people, I think a lot of people don't look at that news feed, but there's a lot of value in there. I've spent some time, scrolling through that news feed and seeing what people are posting. People are a lot more selective about what they like Nick. They're a lot more selective about what they post on there. So when they do post something, it usually is something very interesting, very personal to their company. It's an event. It's something they want people to know professionally, and so it's a good way to really see what is what's important to people, I think, on LinkedIn. So I would challenge you to go through that news feed a couple times a week to see what your connections are talking about on that platform.
Yeah, I feel like it's because I guess maybe the people that I'm connected with, there's like maybe 10 that are really good at LinkedIn, and the rest aren't that good. Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't really bother with my feed, because it's usually the same people bragging about their job or an event for their job, which is fine, but it's just
there is a way to hide those people too that I've kind of used a little bit. Yeah. If there's someone who's posting a little too much, you can say I don't want to see their messages anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. You talking about Facebook or LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, I just found this, a couple months ago. Because someone was posting every day, and it was almost like spam, so it's getting to be a little much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Posting every day is not good?
Well, it's just when it's a lot every day, and it's something that I wasn't interested in, I guess.
It looks like Karen wants you to tell her how you can hide people's posts or certain people or whatever.
Okay, give me 1 second. Gotta use the other computer here.
So he's checking that out, give us the directions in a minute. So one of the things I want, while you're looking that up, one of the things I wanted to share is my latest success with creating and finding new business networking connections for my chapter in BNI. And so we're looking for a specific group of people. We're looking for like a marketing, me especially, looking for a marketing firm to join the group. We're looking for a virtual assistant, and we're looking for what was the other one? Not photographer. I forget. But those two come to mind because I've been actively searching for them. And so I really had to do a good job is I had to upgrade to the premium version of LinkedIn so you can in-mail people, because I like to do it from my desktop. And you can't really send people you can send a connection request on the mobile app, but you can't send them a message if you're not a first level connection. And so I create a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet of all the people that I've trying to reach out to and connect with. So I've probably a dozen people so far. Probably have a dozen people so far who have that I found that are local to the DC area that are virtual assistants, and so I have some criteria that I'm looking for that person. They should do it as a full-time job. They should have like a website, for their virtual assistant business. It's not like a side thing, like a little side gig. And they need to have, what else? It's very low criteria, but I want it to be a business for them. And so then if they share those things, I will reach out to them through an in-mail message, and I'll say, hey, and I got this idea from Ivan Meisner, actually. It's on one of his blogs, and it's been working really well. So I'll reach out to them and I'll say, hey, I'm in a business networking group, and we're looking for a virtual assistant a really good virtual assistant to give all of our business to. Would you be interested in talking? Would you be interested in learning more or something? And so my conversion rate, from an SEO perspective on that approach is about 33%. So about, 1 in 3 people are responding back saying, yes, I am interested, or no, I'm not. So I consider them contacting me back as a good sign. So I've had a couple of people say, it sounds great, but I'm really too busy, which is an interesting situation. Like, they're in the business of virtual assistants, but they're too busy to do any extra work, which means to me, they need to start getting more people to work with them so they can, expand their business. But some people that's like James, like some people they don't want to grow the business. They're happy with being the solo entrepreneur and filling up their schedule, and they're happy campers. I really respect that. I really respect that. So then
I feel like, Brian, you respect it because you don't understand it.
No, I do. No, I do understand it. Really, James has helped me understand it, actually, because he's like that. He's not interested in. I'm not like that. Obviously, I'm trying to take over the SEO world in DC. But I do understand, like, it's kind of like a painter. You don't want to mass produce your paintings. You want to create the best, beautiful painting, possible.
Yeah, what James does is art. So
it is. It is very much art.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Did you find the instructions for?
Oh yes. So when you're in your home feed on LinkedIn, on the desktop version at least, if you hover the top right of the update, there's a small drop-down arrow, and you have 2 options: hide this particular update, which I use, or copy link to share. So that's where you'll find it.
Very good.
Yeah.
This is a high-quality podcast. We got people researching how to do stuff, presenting information. Very good.
Hey, Brian,
Ken's very happy.
Is this focus just on LinkedIn tonight, or?
Feel free to divert us.
Well, the one thing I was thinking was this week Google had the AdWords conference for the new updates in the Google AdWords world.
Yep.
So that was pretty interesting. I don't know if anyone else saw it and kind of what your thoughts were.
I didn't see the conference, but I've been subscribing to webinars that have been talking about the conference, and then looking at some blog articles that have been discussing the conference. And there's a couple of SEO podcasts that get into pay-per-click strategies, and they're talking about, the advent of some of these changes. So what is your takeaway? You actually sat in on the Google conference?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty interesting. After you get through the just talking about how great Google is, they were talking about how they added the tablet bid strategy. So you can now bid on mobile, tablets, and desktop, which is a little bit different.
Yep.
On the local side of things, they were really promoting the branded pin in Google Maps,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Mm.
You see that? So like you would see a little pin of Best Buy if you're looking for an electronic store.
Explain that
locally.
Explain that a little more. Go into more detail with that. That's very interesting.
So basically, they're saying everything's going to mobile, and what they're saying is it's all about foot traffic now, whereas in the past people thought it was everything was moving towards an e-commerce experience, which it probably still is, but they're finding that foot traffic is really picking up, and it's all because of local search marketing now. And so if someone's on their phone and they're saying, where's the closest electronic store? I need a new phone charger. Up will pop, a company like Best Buy, and you might see their branded pin on the map there, along with those other kind of default red Google pins.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives them that extra marketing effort there, where it kind of pops out on the map and your eye draws to the Best Buy pin.
Yeah. So you see the actual logo on the pin on the Google map. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was cool.
I was listening to an SEO podcast. There's one of the podcasts I listen to regularly. It's called the SEO Rockstars with Chris Boggs. And
have
you heard of that one?
Oh yeah, I listened to that one. It's a great podcast.
Yeah, so they had a podcast. It just came out. I think it's the latest one where they were talking about this, and there was some research done on keywords related to local search, and there was a big study done on hotels, and so they did kind of A/B testing on the keyword hotels near me plus the address, or just the address and then the hotel without the near me keyword. And so they found that using the keyword near me, like created just in the title tag. I think it was just in the in the title tag that shows up in the tab of the browser. They were saying that there was a significant jump in search traffic when they used the hotels near me as a keyword in the title tag versus hotels that websites that only use their address, which tells me that it's that semantic search. People are talking into their phones saying, "Where's show me a hotel near me," and then Google is prioritizing that search for people. So we've actually, a lot of SEO jobs that I've been doing, we started doing that before that research came out. We've been starting, because it shows up in, like, we use SEMrush. And so you'll see when you search for high volume keywords, the keyword plus the word near me is starting to show up as a high volume keyword. And even though it's a longer tail keyword in some cases, it's starting to have a lot more search volume because of that, people searching locally on their phones. Very interesting. So I've started doing some keyword optimizing of even small websites. Like, a lot of times it's the contact page. I'll use the near me keyword on the contact page related to their business to increase their search traffic. So yeah, good stuff. Ridiculous geeky stuff.
Yeah, but cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love Google AdWords. We're going to have to do a blab or a spreecast wherever we end up parking here on Google AdWords. That's one we'll have to do in the fall.
I could bring in. I could probably bring in one of my partner agencies that do that as a business. Either I use Jumpfly a lot. They've been getting me some great results. Jumpfly, national agency, doing pay-per-click. Also, Hannapin Marketing, WordStream. I bet I could get a couple of those people to sit in on a on a podcast with us and talk about what's working, because there are a lot of changes happening with Google AdWords and the way you can target ads and how they're changing the platform. I can't keep up with it. It's like I barely keep up with the SEO stuff.
I know.
Now all the Google AdWords changes, and Google Analytics continues to change, the 360 analytics, and the ability, now they've got the ability to combine multiple domains into a single account, so you can aggregate the data from all your domains. Like if you're doing like AMP pages, you can do the AMP.domain and the www.domain, the non-www domain, put it into one group so that you can get aggregate statistics without having to pull it into a separate spreadsheet. This kind of stuff is like, it's I have a hard enough time keeping up with like the SEO and barely grasping on the analytics, and then you've got all the pay-per-click stuff, which is it's mind-boggling. Which is why these kind of podcasts and talking to the experts really pays off. You don't have to know everything. You have to kind of if you're doing this as a business like we are, you kind of have to know about it, know it's out there, and then be able to reach out to people for the, to be able to do it, or at least to know it. And then if somebody's requesting it, to be able to go to the right resource and sound intelligent when your client asks you about something that just came out. I hate it when some of my clients are listening to the latest podcast and they ask me something that just came out the day before. Like I had one client ask me about, hey, what's up with this Google Analytics 360 or the premium or something? They're like, hey, can we get that? What's going on with it? How is that going to help us? I'm like, dude, that just came out yesterday. I haven't even looked at it yet. Why don't you put your phone number on the top of your website first before you start digging into a Google Analytics 360?
So James says that his Google Analytics tells him that Monday is the day that most brides visit my webpage.
See, good information. He's looking at his data.
Mm-hmm.
So the next logical question is, so if you know that, if you know something is happening on your Google Analytics, then what do you do with that information? So how can you use that strategically? So if you know that you're getting, if you're getting the most visits on your webpage on Monday, how can you use that information as a benefit for your business, especially from a web base? What do you guys think? So if he knows that he's getting the most visits on Monday from brides, what would you advise him to do with that information?
Monday specials. Maybe.
Yeah, I was Monday.
Some sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Posting on his social media pages and sending out a group email that day. Mm-hmm. Having some kind of coordinated marketing strategy that reaches that segment for sure.
Yep. So, and since a lot of websites are very static. So like, I haven't changed my homepage probably in weeks. And so if I know traffic is happening on a particular day of the week, what difference does that make to me if I don't change my website very often? But if I know this, so then it makes me think, maybe like Stephanie said, maybe I can post something that's specific to that particular day of the week. Maybe I can, maybe if I know a lot of people are visiting my website, I like Philip's idea of social media. And then this is something that Nick does. So if I know it's encouraging people to connect with other platforms. So maybe on Monday, I move something on the homepage that encourages people to connect with me on a social media on Monday. So I might have a graphic that says, hey, connect with me on Twitter today and receive a free quote for a wedding, get a 50% discount coupon for whatever. Kind of maybe somehow kind of leverage that traffic that's happening on Monday to get people to do something, to sign up for a newsletter, maybe highlight that, sign up for my newsletter on Mondays and receive XYZ, receive a white.
Because that's the thing. Once you have the foot traffic coming into your website, what do you do with it? You got to do some sort of call for action so that transfers into something for you.
Yeah, I like Kara's idea. So she just came out sharing a special success or projects on Mondays. So if you believe that brides are visiting your website on Monday, share a special, people might argue, well, why not just share a special bride success every day of the week, all the time on the homepage? Well, if you believe that it's brides that are especially visiting your website on Mondays, then just leave it up there, because if he does videos for more than just brides, he does all kinds of different videos. He just finished a series of videos for a financial website. It was called the Campaign for Investors, a big national campaign. James just completed a series of web-based interviews for that project. Totally outside of nothing to do with weddings. It's all about finances and responsible investing of money. And so he wants to attract those people as well. But if he knows like Mondays, that's when the brides are there. So let's really highlight the brides on Monday, but then go back to, more of a general, all-inclusive approach the other days of the week. Might be a good strategy.
Yep. Well, Nick, thanks for checking in, but we're going to be closing out here in just a few minutes anyway.
Yeah.
But we appreciate your contribution tonight, definitely.
Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
So Nick, just to give you a little information about Nick. So since he was online, I'll get a promo for his business. So Nick owns a business locally here in the Bethesda area. He's actually a member of the Chamber of Commerce in Bethesda. His description on his Blab profile is probably the same on his Twitter. It says, "Follow me for interesting internet marketing, SEO, video production, email marketing, social media, WordPress, and design news." So he's doing a lot of the same stuff we're doing, Philip. That would be competition.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But yeah. So I've actually he's the competition, collaboration. There's a fine line between competition and collaboration. You and I are competitors. We have the same kind of clients, but we also collaborate on a whole lot of projects.
A ton of them. Yeah, we work together quite often. Yeah.
So that's Plush Marketing. His website address is, I think it's plushmarketing.com, I think. Check that out. Yeah, there it is. Plushmarketingagency.com. Very good. And let's check out Philip's profile. Lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. So he's got the local SEO going there on his Blab description. Owner of, I just bounced off of it. Let me go back. Owner of, then a hyperlink. I guess I'm assuming that short link is linking to philipdaycommunications.com.
Yep.
Write copy, form voiceovers. So that's something you do different than Nick. You do voiceovers, blogs, newsletters, SEO, SEM marketing, and screenwriting. So that's another unique niche that you're involved in there.
I'm just to let you know, I am 60% through on my second draft of my screenplay.
Wow.
And I'll be ready to market it in probably July or August. I'll be done.
You're writing a screenplay? I didn't know this.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I know it is. I would like to say I'm enjoying it, and I am for most of it, but it's a labor of love. Let me tell you, it really is. It's a labor of love.
Nice.
Oh,
And let's see how Stephanie has branded herself. Ooh, she's like Cher. No, she's like Cher, just Stephanie Montenegro. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know right now.
And so, who else is in the room? Let's see how Karen is branding herself in her profiles. Karen Dowell Morris, helping potential and existing homeowners has always been a God-inspired calling for me. So she's got her very nice. So she has her faith connected to her business. Very public about it. Very good. Real estate, construction, mortgage, and consulting, and her phone number, so that she does something unique from all of us. That she's putting her phone number to make it easy for people to connect with her. Very good. And for myself, let me see what I wrote. I change this all the time depending on what I want to focus on. So I've got lowbiginc.com, internet marketing strategist. BNI Blast on Blab hosts. So that's what I'm trying to really promote on Blab, is the Blast on Blab thing. And so I have also linked bniblast.com. And then I like to share something personal about myself. So bluegrass mandolinist in Washington, D.C. So I like to do that local thing too that Karen's doing and that Philip is doing, like sharing like where I'm from, because that creates a natural source of connection for people. Yeah. So if other people are from Washington, D.C., that's like, hey, you're from Washington, D.C., so am I. What do you do? Where do you go? Where do you go for coffee? Do you want to go out for lunch? Good. Okay. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yep.
Sounds good.
It's been an excellent show. We've, even though we diverted off the LinkedIn road for a little bit, it was worthwhile.
Yep.
And I hope after tonight that our viewers and those who are watching us on the podcast or listen to us on the podcast have learned something new about LinkedIn. To a lot of people, it seems like a stodgy, stiff type of business-like corporate type of networking, but it really is not, and it can really enhance your business and your connections and help you build relationships.
Yep. And Stephanie had a good closing show statement there. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, our guests are typically BNI members for if we're doing an interview. But we do these open discussions too, and we'd be happy to bring in when we're doing an open networking discussion, allow somebody to just get in on that discussion. Please visit bniblast.com. Signing off.